Here we have an editor in his natural habitat. He has just about finished his project, looking proud.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel again. We're gonna go and wage war on the fucking Indominus 2.0. If you don't know, there's this channel that I used for the T-Rex handbag clips, basically known as, I think it was Goji Center. Yeah, it was Goji Center. And they made an Indominus 2.0, basically to improve the Indominus, and everybody who saw that was like, let's go kill this fucker already, with their own hybrids. Most people just, I think, made one hybrid. I don't think they made more than one or two. I think I'm the only one who may have made two hybrids, because when I thought of making one into two, it was nightmare fuel. So I just made it into two. One herbivore, one apex predator. Yes, I know I'm way too late for the submission. Yes, I know everybody has tried making their own hybrids and killing it. It looks pretty cool when they did it. Yeah, I know. I just I had fun. And also, I was a little bit of financial issues. But neither here nor there. Let's talk about the Paleoloxodon. It's going to be based off the herbivore, number one. Did you know that the Paleoloxodon's descendants is apparently the Asian and African elephant? I did not know that. I thought they were descended of some other elephant species. But basically, the Paleoloxodon, if we had to give estimates, its estimate of, well, body mass, just average, I think, it says 22 tons. And the damn thing from shoulder height is basically 5.2 meters to 1.5 meters to 17 to 14 feet. Shoulder height. Because they don't stand on their rear legs, because they're just way too heavy already, and those things will snap. They have a large head crest, basically used to do head ramming and also to do predation termination attempts whenever they saw a predator. They have very thick skin, like their descendants, like the Asian and African elephant, but maybe it's a bit more thicker than we think. I don't know. We don't have mummified body of a Paleoloxodon. That's about that I know about. And they also have large tusks as well, as you could clearly see, as well as the Paleoloxodon is a vegetarian. It has a vegetarian diet, but herbivores will eat sometimes insects and birds. But I think because the Paleoloxodon, as its African descendant, it may be having some PTSD with its mouse. So who knows? And also the Paleoloxodon, its descendants, it has a foot pad that has some fat that it could also, when it does like infrasound communication, when it rumbles and all that, down to the ground, the males and females could pick it up with their feet and they could hear it and they could decipher and also understand the intent of the communication and such, what it is the scenario right now today, what a possible outcome it may be. Maybe it's a boring day. Who knows? That's very weird. I didn't know they could do that, to be personal. You know, it kind of makes me wonder, why haven't elephants become the apex rulers of the world yet? With so many broken hacks. And much like their descendants, they must have very good identical memory, if not perfect memory, because the African elephant and the Asian elephant, they do not forgive at all. They, if anything, they're pretty good at their memory. I wonder why our memory is a piece of shit. And also, I think, in my personal opinion, they must also go through some form of version of their seasonal rut. What is rut? The males will have an excessive amount of testosterone pumped into their body and basically become insanely amounts of aggression. It's basically a tractor with forks, and anything it gets caught, it gets to crash and kill. And probably these fights will probably be awesome to look at. They probably last just as long or longer because elephant fights generally last for days, so they must last a little bit longer, maybe a day or two, or maybe a little shorter, day or two shorter. We don't know. We aren't there. We don't have a time machine or a time window to see it. What else can a Paleoloxodon do? Because I think because the Asian elephants, they use their trunk to hold the other elephant's tail when they're going in a line, usually to a new location, I think. Because they're highly social and they don't like to be alone that much, and I think a little bit of anxiety. I can't remember. I think that's one of the reasons they do that. The Paleoloxodon might do that, or maybe it doesn't do that at all. We don't know. Again, I had to move on because it's going to be a long talk and I'm reading all the stuff that I have written down, and we're going to take the features of the white-tailed deer's stomach and somewhat of its eyesight to see, but also to digest. It's got a 4-chamber stomach to break down plant matter, and also to ruminate, and allows it to chew and regurgitate its food, and to rechew and to break down basically the plant materials for their eyes see in low light levels. So we're going to use the stomach and we're going to incorporate that to the Paleoloxodon mutant we're going to make. I know it's a hybrid, but let's just call it a mutant. It's easy for me, or a hybrid for you. Let's go with hybrid. Yeah, it's a hybrid. We're going to use the 4-chamber stomach. We're going to have to enlarge basically the torso unit to accommodate this and help it to achieve this more properly, so that way it doesn't have more internal space problems to compete with the lungs and I think the heart as well, and maybe the intestines. And we are going to incorporate the eyesight of the white-tailed deer for the low light levels somewhat. And now for the golden eagle. The golden eagle can clearly see colors and allows it to spot movement from a distance. The golden eagle can also see extremely well during the day, but it can't see anything at night whatsoever. So if you ever wonder why the golden eagle is not very active at the night, it's primarily a sightseer. So we're going to do somewhat and base the golden eagle's eyesight into our Paleoloxodon, and we're going to incorporate that a little bit more with the white-tailed deer's eyesight on the low light level to make it a little bit more better to see. Okay, and the skunk. Why the skunk? Well, have you ever seen those little fuckers? It's kind of terrifying. Not much that goes hunting the skunk or fights it. The skunk has stink glands that it could shoot twice, and get this, the fucking skunk could aim this shit. Yeah, I know, these fuckers can aim, and it's very effective. It's got, basically a chemical compound that could make it smell like, decaying flesh, or smells like shit. Oh yeah, right, and it could also have 6 muscles to help it to aim and shoot in 6 feet. Little sons of bitches. So when the skunk sprays and it aims at you, at your face or eyes, it's gonna be hurtful for indom too, because it's gonna basically have ash shit corpse smell in its face and eyes, which will help to defend our Paleoloxodon hybrid. Now we're going to go with the electric eel. The electric eel can produce its own electricity, which it can do a lot of shock because it has organs that it uses. I think it's got the main organ, it's got the satch, and also the organ, it was our hunter organ. Since of this cells called electrocyto to pump sodium and potassium ions, maintain a positive charge outside and negative charge inside. The nerve signals arriving at the electrocytoplasm ion gate open, the positive charge ions flow back. One facing electrical cytos is negative, and there's also one that is negative charge, and one outside is a positive charge. Basically, to help it to shock, stun prey, and helps it to eat its prey a little bit more. And also, navigation and communication, which I did not know they do that. If you're thinking if the electric eel is some sort of like eel or snake, it's not. It's apparently a fish. I thought it was some sort of reptile. Well, no, it's a fish. But basically, they have some electrical pulses, which they have every tiny little charge adds up into an electrical field. Several meters called electrical receptors in their skin allows the fish to connect constantly, sense food, and change in case by surrounding fish that they go through their body that allows them to go and shock the prey that they can allow and eat. But we're not going to allow the meat eating part of the electric eel. We're going to introduce its electrical organs into the body of our absurdly Paleoloxodon. So I'm going to take a break. Here's one thing I didn't know about Joss had is he could see very clearly in the night and dark by starlight. Yeah, I know, he has electrical receptors, little black dots that allows him to basically summon an electric conduct jelly at the bottom of their pores, which is hair-like cells. I didn't know they had such a thing called Lucia, I think, is response to the change nearby electrical currents transported by jelly, triggered nearby, tells them animals are nearby. Electrical sense is able to only work about 1 meter, but it's still scary. So we allow the shark-like eyes to see in the dark. We're gonna not do any more on the eyes. So we're gonna allow the Paleoloxodon have the hair-like, was it Lucia? Yes, it is Lucidia. That is the pores that allow them to sense a little bit of electrical fields, which we are going to keep the 1 meter part to make it a little bit, nerfed a little bit. We don't want this thing to be too OP, that it could feel around surroundings and such. So that's a little bit nice. So I'm going to take a little break. And the next one will be a little bit more offensive for more biochemicals. You may hear about this animal before a couple times. Its name is a bombardier beetle. It has a biocaustic liquid explosive out of its abdomen, so pulsing 500 times a second, keeping its abdomen just cool enough from cooked, and they can aim. And here are the 3 bullshit ones I got that I don't know how to make this thing function. Just pick them because I think it could help a little bit. That's the only way I can describe it. The chrysalis, which is the golden fucking ram, because it took me so fucking long to figure out how to say this name. Only the golden ram's golden hair and horns. I don't think it has golden bones. I haven't heard anything about its golden bones. The art usually would say it has golden bones, but it says only about the fleece. So we only take golden fleece to add in to our paleoxodon to also help it to give that little extra oomph when it came indominus. When it comes to grabbing it, it'll give it a little bit more of a static shock and painful. And Torterra, its leaf storm, its energy ball, and plant tree growth from its back for just sugar and starch and carbohydrates and stuff. Nothing more than that. It can only shoot its energy ball 3 times to give it a nerf, because anymore it gets colder and it may die. And it could spam leaf storm. Why would I give it the plant stuff like the trees? Instead, give it its carbohydrates and stuff to nourish and replenish its metabolism and stuff, and also to compensate a little bit. The chrysalis is golden hair. That's about it. And Golem from Monster Ranchers. How many people remember that? Only the rock arms and hands. Nothing more. Not his disassembly power. Nothing else. Just the rock hands and arms. The ground sloth. We wanted calcaneus, large, robust, weight-bearing support bone. Giant beaver, just for the webbed feet and its swimming ability. That's about it. And now let's go with herbivore, the ankylosaur's armor, the spikes, a little bit of its ossified tendons, like for the tail, for the club, to help it to hold it a little bit. Not too much, maybe like halfway point. We want the interlocking vertebra also a little bit at the end as well. Maybe like the quarter part of the tail fuse and become interlocking. And we want some of the osteoderms, which will help it, which is the big bony part of the ankylosaur's tail club. They're just bones that have, for one way or another, become a lot more larger and stronger. Crocodiles also have osteoderms as well, usually on their backs and parts of their tail to make up armor plating. Not as much more as an offensive part. That's what the ankylosaur has. The brontosaurus, we will only have the immense muscles and the air sacs to go along with elephant's lung parts to help it to give it a much more deeper bellowing sound. And the octopus will have the chromatophores, the tiny little pigment cells that will help it to blend in a little bit more. Its ink sacs help it to shoot out a little bit of ink here and there. In front of its trunk, you will see I had drawn a diagram shooting out a little bit of ink. Give me 1 second, I'm a little bit hungry. Now we go to the hippopotamus. Aquatic web feet and powerful leg muscles. Superior fast swimmer and endurance swimmer. Holds his breath up to 5 minutes. Thick skin also in some areas, measuring up to 2 inches. Alright, let's see about the scaly-foot gastropod. Let's see this, alternate universe of a Wolverine that apparently became a species and it's a slug. Yeah, no, this is the fucking weirdest X-Men I've ever seen. So the scaly-foot gastropod is basically weird, and you're gonna see why I compared it to Wolverine. It has a throat pouch, which it shares bacteria with, because it provides it basically shelter from the environment, while bacteria absorb whatever the scaly-foot gastropod absorbs from its skin, nutrients, where they get to make some sort of chain reaction of food it needs, and also byproduct metals and shit, such as iron sulfide, calcium, mixture of minerals, aragonite, one of the forms of calcium carbonate, pyrite, gigaite. Pyrite is known as a fool's gold. I remember fool's gold. It was not funny. I gotta go and make this part of Reggie's DNA structure and everything, and then I gotta go and make a text to Goofy. The axolotl, also known as nature's OP broken ass Deadpool. Here's some things I'm gonna say. The axolotl can regenerate from almost any body part. Oh, I don't know. Its tail, its limbs, its parts of its eyes, even parts of its brain. Holy. Severed or lost body part. A blood clot rapidly starts bleeding at the cut, and a layer of cells cover the amputated area. In the next few days, cells underneath the epidermis begin rapidly dividing from cone-shaped structure known as the blastema, also called the regeneration bud. The blastema is where regular bones, cartilage, muscle cells dedifferentiate, meaning where they lose their individual identity, transform back to stem cells, slowly starting to reform bones, skin, veins, like stem cells would in a blastema. Nerves and blood vessels contain the rest of the body. The limb grows back completely, looking like exact copy of the limb was lost. Holy motherfuck. Now that we had discussed about his 18 genetic contributors, which is Rama will be spammed and cloned a few hundred times, and how we will transport him is basically A, Helldire's bullets, basically they are. I know they're pods, but let's call them bullets. And let's just say they fit around 30 to 40 individuals comfortably with no problems, stressful encounters whatsoever. Fire them down on the fucking island. Did they kill some predators and dominators? Woohoo. They don't? Woohoo still. It's fun. What will they eat? They'll eat basically all the plant matter, all the moss, clay, and mud. Also, a little bonus, because herbivores do this time to time, is they do eat small animals. Potentially or not is up to debate for the scientists, but we'll do it as well. For our hybrid army, which is the Rama species, will be eating some small animals included for the extra protein and stuff. How will the gestation period work? Well, let's just say 2 years is fair enough, because they had to grow stony arms as well in the womb. And I think about that's gonna be one hell of a fucking birth. And how will they survive? Not just the eating part, but how else will they do? Well, they are basically mostly contributed by herbivores, and herbivores by instinct are mostly stick together in herds. So that's helpful. Contribute the electric eel to all throughout his body. He'll have the ability to shock. Mainly, the most effective area will be the trunk. A bunch of individuals, 10 or 20 of them, start stabbing or crushing or pounding a fucking Indominus. Allow their trunks to hit or touch the Indominus. They'll give them an electrical shock, which will contribute to more pain and death and suffering. Faster way to kill them off. That'll be easy. And if they're in danger or threat, and they may be getting too close, they could shoot out ink, getting regular ink, at the face. Just say if they get too close for females and such. Well, the females have the ability of the skunk. Perfectly aim and shoot. We're going to make this go throughout the tail mostly to aim and shoot. That's how it'll work. Let's just say this is not enough to take down the Adonis. What do I have next? Because if Rama doesn't work and his time doesn't finish it off easily, option 2. Basically, Camille. I named it after basically one of the Lord of the Rings ringmates. Let's talk about his genetic contributors. There's 20 of them, so let's go with number 1, the T-Rex. Let's talk about the T-Rex's features. So the T-Rex has a very freakishly good sense of smell, better than a turkey vulture's. It has large olfactory bulbs, twice as better than a turkey vulture's. And a turkey vulture, if you want to know, could smell minuscule amounts, gases of corpse decay and all that, hundreds of feet in the air, and it can track this stuff basically miles away, and it's insanely good. T-Rex has an enhanced reflexes. Raptor eye head movement allows it to track quick moving prey and reacts to high speeds, several scenarios accurately, better than binocular vision than a hawk's, allowing accurate gauge depth across wide ranges. T-Rex likely had sharp color vision, potentially could see ultraviolet spectrum, likely many birds. And T-Rex's hearing, unusual elongated calcanear duct, associated with especially sharp hearing, could have a wide range of sounds with high acuity. It specialized low-frequency sounds, likely rumbles and bellows, used to communicate with other members of its species. I'd be surprised if it communicates in other frequencies that I don't know about. Basically, it's a massive terrestrial predator. The average weight that humans would give it between 8 to 7 metric tons. Jesus Christ, fat bitch. Bite force between 8,000 5,700 newtons, basically pulverizing bones. What a poor creature bitch, basically being eaten by its broad depth skull with excellent executive hosted muscle attachments, outclass all other theropods. T-Rex skull. Thankfully, it can only just walk because it's too big once it's a fully grown adult, because if it does run, its bones snap into twigs. Its only fastest walking speed estimate that we can get is 12 miles per hour. It beats most people's speeds. I think it'll run up to 6 miles per hour. Well, that's kind of sad still. Deep, large chest, superior lungs and air sacs allow it to maintain pace for a very long time. The Tyrannosaur had more effective than any other theropod same size when it comes to quick turns. T-Rex QE 2.5 high end for relative comparable crocodilian. Excellent complex parental care. Also for long-term bonds. So now that we have gotten all of that stuff done, we're gonna talk about some facts about bear. Yeah, there's gonna be some things that you didn't know that I didn't know. In case bear's fat, urea wastes nitrogen by breaking down urea using nitrogen to build protein, and some cause the bear to gain muscle mass by eating their food, which includes berries, nuts, tubers, other plant foods, mammals such as wolves and deer, and insects. Also, who can forget about the sick and injured animals as well? Grizzly bears can dig up to 1 ton of dirt with big, powerful shoulder muscles, 2.5 to 5 times stronger than an average humans. Jesus Christ. They can lift and carry objects weight over 1,100 pounds, 500 kg. Jesus Christ. Well, now I know what I'm going to add that into this thing. That will increase its muscle strength and fibers and also allow it to chuck more shit and also to give it a little bit more extra arm strength and also to give it more development on its lifespan to gather proteins and stuff. Now we'll move on to the vampire bat for its echolocation, the flying, and also finding its prey, and also a little wrinkly ass face to help the vampire bat use its fibers that are loaded with proteins, allowing it to detect infrared radiation. Giving off warm-blooded animals, bats live in large colonies, who knew, that take care of one another. The behavior is called reciprocal altruism. Often one bat will sacrifice their own needs for another, assuming that they will be held in the future. How do they even do it? How does that even happen with them? Of all the animals. Bat. Fly makes bats' body kick into hyperdrive, beam their wings 15 times per second. Jesus. Their heart rate races over 1,000 beats per minute rapidly. Oh my God. Raising the core body temperature to around 41 degrees Celsius. That is extreme for a mammal, extreme inflammation, cell damage, and possibly even death for bat. The bat lived through feverish flight night to night, coming back healthier as a result, living 10 years longer? 41 years? Huh. So that's their peak? Well, I didn't know that. Explains a lot for that species. How does that even happen? So it add its extreme body temperature to the T-Rex. That way it can handle its more body temperature heat. So that way it doesn't overheat and basically burn out and die. So that will be nice a little bit. And we will also give it the echolocation to help to find its prey or targets. And basically to help it to kill its enemies or food in the dark. So that way we can give them a little bit more able to see in the dark. So that will help us. A boar, a highly adaptable animal capable of thriving variety environments, tropical rainforest, barren lands, expansive grassland, urban areas. Diversity of habitats enable the wild boar to develop a range of unique biological traits, flexible diet, high reproductive capability, complex social behaviors. Omnivores capable of eating a wide range of food, including plants, fungi, insects, small animals, not only helps them to maintain a rich nutritional intake, also reduces competition. Food in their habitats, strong reproductive capacity, each litter containing 4 to 12 piglets, allowing the wild boar population to grow rapidly when the environment conditions favor. Wild boars living in herds, complex social structures, typically led by a strong male, helps them to search for food more effectively and protect their territory more effectively, cope with dangers from their surrounding areas, combination of social behaviors, effective communication from one key factor enabling them to survive and thrive. Wild boars also have a very sensitive hearing. They can perceive both high and low frequency sounds, helping them to recognize the presence of other predators or other dangers. Their hearing plays a crucial role. Social communication will allow their various adaptable abilities to urban, to wildlands, to grasslands, barren wastelands and such into the basically our theropod, which will help. High to low frequency sounds will help also our theropod, so that way it could communicate more effectively. No bigger than 5, and the social behaviors as well, and the various omnivorous diet boar as well will go into our theropod. Next up, the harpy eagle. The harpy eagle's feather ring around their head, the facial disc that they call. They can control the facial disc, raise and funnel sound waves towards the ears, improving their hearing and locate sounds useful in dense rainforest canopy where they can hunt their prey in low light conditions. Harpy eagle claws are the size of a sleeper, crushing bones. Holy hell! So we will use the harpy eagle's facial disc to help to hear a little bit more better and to funnel low and high frequency sounds, and also funnel more precise sounds if they're favorite food or favorite target to kill, which will be in Dominus 2.0. But size of a grizzly bear's claws to crush bones, that one wasn't you. That I forgot about that. I wrote that one down. Here's some things that I wrote down that I need to remember about the crow next time so I don't kick one. Their intelligence, tool making, planning for the future, remembering items, events, and people. Crow's pallium is similar to a mammalian neocortex, which is dense packed neurons, family bonds, working together to mob predators. So we will add the dense neurons to help them to make advanced tools-ish for them, and also to plan for the future, recognize events, environments, and all that kind of stuff, and their pallium as well. And we'll also use their family bonds as well, and also working together to mob predators, including the Indominus Rex 2.0. And we will never forget about also including their vengeance. So that way they can also attack their prey a little bit more easy, or the predators, like any sort of Tyrannosaurus or Spino. And basically make sure quick work out of them. Long story short, don't throw Molotov cocktails at crow. The Burmese python. heat-sensitive pits organs right around their lips, detecting infrared radiation emitted from warm-blooded prey in the darkness. Oh my god, that made them even more scary than before. So we will use its basically heat-sensitive lips, I didn't know they had that, to basically inject that to our theropod to help it to see a little bit more better, or I guess maybe it'll help it to feel a little bit more better for infrared radiation, to find its prey and also to eat it or kill it, or its target, again, the Indominus 2.0. And I didn't know that Burmese python had that. That's weird as hell. The silverback gorilla can easily deadlift over 450 kilograms, 2.5 times their body weight. Jesus Christ, man, I just feel insignificant. Estimated a gorilla can lift 815 kilograms. What the fuck? Dense bones, more resistant to fractures and breaks. Gorillas have a high cancellous tissue density, making gorillas stronger. Diet is omnivorous. They eat stem bamboo shoots, fruits, eating insects, ants, and termites. Really, no birds? No small mammals? Huh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know they didn't do that. Extra long gut, the hindgut. Cecum gut makes up half of total gut volume, having microbiome of bacteria. Readily break down cellulose, producing digestible sugars and volatile fatty acids taken up by the gorilla, used for energy and synthesize complex molecules such as proteins. Tool use overcoming physical obstructions. And yes, we will include the gorilla's tool making as well, but the tool making is mostly to help to facilitate a little bit more of their foraging and also bed making. They make more of beds at different location. So we will allow their basically ability to deadlift 450 kilograms or 815 kilograms. So that will be nice. We will allow density for their bone to help them a little bit more. And we will allow this breakdown of the cellulose as well into our theropod genetic makeup, helping a little bit more adaptable in such ways. Spinosaurus more effective head structure, dealing a top-down stresses, likely to use their arms holding prey while using their powerful jaws bite down, retracted nostril, possible pressure sense out. And we'll also use a little bit of their bone density. That's a little bit I'm going to add about the Spinosaurus. The bone density, pressure sensor, the arms, not so much of their head stressor because their head is more designed to catching fish. Our theropod needs to catch more than just fish. It needs to catch just about anything that it could fit its dumbass face in. Crocodile eyes may effectively due to a layer of crystal behind their retinas called tibium lucidum, reflects light back into retina after already entered their eye, giving them excellent night vision. Their eyes are featured nictite membrane translucent eyelid, allows them to keep their eyes up under the water. Their bite force is 3,700 psi. It's a saltwater crocodile and among best suited life in the ocean, having salt glands that filter out salt in the water. Crocodiles are one of the most gregarious reptiles in the world, living together in large groups, even tolerating each other's presence. Whilst feeding during mating season, males will fight with one another. For females, males will bellow, attracting females. This low-pitched sound shakes the ground beneath them. Palate valve is a specialized structure in the back of the crop throat, acting seal that prevents water from entering his underwater muscularized gizzard. Like chamber and gastrolith work together to crush and grind food, especially hard component, bone, shells, and their stomach has extreme acids, potent digestive enzymes, breaks down most organic materials such as bones, hooves, and horn. We'll keep everything about their eyes, even the third eyelid, because we'll use this for when our creature basically goes underwater and basically needs to see something. The third eyelid is there to keep their eyes open and to keep debris out of there, so it'll be nice to see. And we will keep it indestructible, basically digestive system. I wish I had such potent acids to do that. So we will allow it to digest most organic materials and to basically go through the chamber system of the stomach of the goddamn theropod to basically digest most of the organic materials, and which will help to give some extra minerals and stuff for its bones and such. We will go later. We will keep his gizzard. We will keep basically the chamber and also we will keep his calm demeanor to allow communications with his own kind, to also help it to give also extra muscle strength here and there as well, and the bellowing as well. And we'll allow the low pitch for communications as well, and also the hear. That's why we kept some of the hearing structures of the other previous donors. So let's move on to our next donor, the walrus. A walrus vocal cords, like most mammals, use them to produce sounds, both air and water. They are among the most vocal of all pinnipeds, using their vocal cords to produce variety sounds like grunts, growls, barks, knocks, whistles, and clicks. Alright, nice. We're using Auror's vocal cords to confuse the Indominus, so that way when the Indominus, when it thinks it hears all the information, when it hears our theropods communicating with one another, it doesn't have the whole picture. And also when it thinks it's a smaller animal it's maybe facing, it's actually a bunch of our theropods, which will come and kill the damn thing. We want it to happen. We want the Indominus Rex to be exterminated and wiped out as immediately as possible. Now to the Supersaurus. A Supersaurus in most respects is similar to a Basisaurus but less robust built, has elongated cervical vertebra, result one of the most longest sauropod neck length is 33 to 44 meters. Okay, that I never knew about. Height, shoulder is 6 meters, god damn that's one big ass boy, and 35 to 44 tons. Why couldn't they round it up to 45 tons? Was a possible grazer and browser. Most plants any height allowed it to feed anything it can reach. We will keep its cells and bones that allows it to handle weight load. It will be over 10 tons a little bit here and there, so its robust shoulder blade, if it will help it a little bit. We will allow its air sacs because we will be using a famous D&D lizard. That's all you're going to know about. We're going to go with the boxfish jellyfish now. Boxfish jellyfish are lethal and the most poisonous jellyfish in the world. One of them has enough venom to kill 60 people in minutes. My god! Boxfish jellyfish is equipped with over 60 tentacles, each up to 5,000 stinging cells. Why not? Holding venom containing capsules containing pneumasis. Venom contains multiple toxins. Experts aren't sure which one makes them so deadly. Proteins in venom called porins can destroy red blood cells. Venom causes Irukandji syndrome. Symptoms include lots of pain and nausea, high blood pressure, resulting in bleeding in the brain and death. In the name of street Buddha, what the hell am I reading? We're letting it have it basically poisoned to kill its food if it runs out of vegetation, and also to kill the Indominus Rex a little bit more easier as well. We move on to the next animal. The Stegosaurus was a very small ankylosaur dinosaur, reached 5 feet 1.5 meters in length, heavy as much as a snapping alligator turtle. Tail was short and stubby, fat from top to bottom. Bizarre tail club. Tail vertebrae were very flat, not fusilar as the tail hammer of an ankylosaur. Instead, the bones were inside of a sheet, semi-fused and interlocking. Osteoderms were semi-conical, pointed outward, slightly upward. Texture was rough and craggy. Altogether, the weapon appears very similar to an Aztec war club, the maquite. This weapon was a large wooden bat or paddle with serrated blade obsidian. We will keep its osteoderms. We will keep its goddamn tail club. We will keep it unfused. We will make sure this damn thing will be unfair when it goes against the Indominus Rex, because we are not here to play fair. On to the next animal. Giganotosaurus could reach lengths of 13 meters long, almost 43 feet long. The warm-bloodedness reaches speed to 30 kilometers per hour, makes slicing bites, fatal serrated blade-like teeth. Yeah, that's pretty deadly. We want to keep it growth for its length, and we also want its speed and also the serrated blade-like teeth, because the T-Rex can only run 12 kilometers per hour. We want it to run 30 kilometers an hour, which would be better, so that will be more easier. We could incorporate a little bit of Giganotosaurus muscles into that. So now we're going to move on to the ridiculous one, the Deathclaw. The Deathclaw, created as a super soldier living in a nuclear family, dominated by a breeding pair of offspring, assorted ages, possible sibling, cooperative breeding, known as helpers of the nest. Alpha Deathclaws, bighorns, spikes, testosterone, also improves bones, health, strength, recovery for mature males of Deathclaws. The horns are specialized lethal weapons used against their own kind, having back claws and also incredibly strong arms like a chuck cars. We'll have the breeding pair dominance in there for our theropod as well. We will have the basically the firstborn hatchlings to protect the nest. For the young ones or the eggs that have not yet able to protect themselves, we will have the horns and spikes and the added testosterone and all that for the Deathclaw added to our theropod. We will not allow to basically able to chuck trees and boulders. We will allow basically to use trees and boulders as a weapon. The Gogiosaurus for its radiation immunity and its radiation generation bulletproof hide. Basically, we want these added in there. It's a video game monster, I think, from some sort of video game where they find alien dinosaurs and stuff like that. Can't remember the name, but try finding the name and I'll post it for you guys. Sorry, it's not a animal. It's actually a monster. D&D red dragon, strongest chromatic dragon. They are known as the second biggest dragon. Live in high mountains, volcanoes, deep abandoned strongholds. More geothermal activity, better together, 2 horns covering their head, feature that every single red dragon has. The horns come in different colors, spending a vast majority of their time developing tactics, strategies for every possible outcome, extremely fast and agile, on the ground, leaping around, very fast moving and weaving in combat, exhaling a fire breath, a fire cone. We will allow it to go basically mountains, volcanoes, and abandoned fortresses, buildings. We will have the horns, the spikes, we will have the fire breath modified, I'll explain a little bit later. We will have its agility somewhat, and we will have it weaving somewhat, and basically have it planning half the time. The D&D Red Dragon's fire breath is 60 foot, which is 18 meters, so we're going to shorten it. So Kamil's fire breath 45 feet with 13 meters, so that'll be alright, that's fair enough. It will leak radiation. The Scalyfoot gastropod, as well as the axolotl, all their adaptations will be also added into our theropod. We want to be unfair. Its name will be Kamul. That will be the name of the theropod we have made. We will be firing Kamul out of Helldiver missile bullets again, and we will also allow it to basically wreak havoc on the environment, eating all the plants, animals, moss, the clay as well, a little bit here and there. And we will allow it to basically rampage, leaking radiation out of its body, and also whenever it faces any sort of indominus rex or a big animal, spews out fire breath, which will leak a little bit of radiation, which will give cancer and burn damage. And we will allow this thing to wreak havoc. If that doesn't work, we will unleash basically Rama and Kamul together to basically wreak havoc and damage on the environment. We want this to be a scorched earth, nothing less surrounding strategy. I'm going to be resting right now, folks, digging a burrow. See you guys later. There's so much editing. You guys can follow me at Kara. Instagram is dead to me. I don't give a damn.
You could use a hand job in your life.
Yes, I still use Aura as well. Anger I'm also using, but it's more like I got suppository stuff I'm gonna have to do with it. So yeah.
I want problems, always!
And Mino's there as well. Yes.
Question for God. Why?
Reddit is always available.
Minigun, bitch!
Tumblr, for some folks, is still there too.
Oh, no.
You can also follow me at ArtStation as well. And yes, I am using Odyssey and Internet Archive. See you guys and bye.
Let's